All right, welcome back, everyone. So in the last few sessions, we talked about workflows and event triggers and how you can basically respond to events within IdentityNow and process some further actions. In this session, Fernando de los Rios Sanchez and I are going to talk about other ways that you can consume IdentityNow events in order to, other ways you can consume those events on different no-code, low-code platforms. So again, Workflows is great. It's built into IdentityNow. It's got direct access to a lot of the actions and event triggers that we have. But maybe your organization has a subscription or access to other no-code solutions. Maybe it's Microsoft Power Automate. Maybe it's Workato, Zapier, Pipedream, whatever you might have. Those are also valid options for consuming event triggers and performing actions on those. So again, my name's Colin McKibben, lead developer advocate at SailPoint. With me, we have Fernando. Say hi, Fernando.
Hi guys, Fernando here, part of the technical specialist team in EMEA, and I'm going to tell you more about Pipedream today.
All right, thanks, Fernando. Hope it's a good evening over there for you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start with something that I have built. I maintain this. It's actually a Workato connector for SailPoint. So if your company has access to Workato, you can actually use our community connector to connect to SailPoint. So you can find it. If you have a Workato account, you can go to Custom Connectors, search for SailPoint, and there you can find our official SailPoint connector. Again, I created it, I maintain it, so if you have any issues with it or you have feature requests, just reach out to me on the developer forum and I can get those implemented. All right, so let's actually cover one of the, let's create a simple recipe using the SailPoint connector. So I will go back to my projects and I'm gonna create a new recipe. So the interface, it's gonna be very similar, like most no-code, low-code solutions are gonna be very similar to the Workflows interface. They're all very similar. They have the same look and feel, so you should feel right at home. So again, we have this canvas where we can drag and drop triggers and actions onto. In this case, again, you got to start with the trigger, some kind of event that's going to trigger our recipe in this case. I'm going to select the SailPoint connector. And you can see we have support for a lot of our ETS events, including a couple of the request response type events, like the access request pre-approval that I just showed in the last session. For this demonstration, I'm gonna listen for a new identity created in my tenant. So I'm gonna select that trigger. We need to set up a connection. I do have one set up right now, but I'm actually gonna go through the flow of creating a new connection on Workato. Now, to set up a connection to SailPoint on Workato, you have to have an OAuth client ID and secret. So there are some directions here on how to do that. So you can follow along with that later. But in my case, I already know what I need to do. So I'm gonna go back to my admin page, go to the global security settings, and API management, and I need to create new OAuth credentials. Now the connector will tell you which ones you need. You need the authorization code and the refresh token. For the redirect URL, the connector says use this URL for the redirect URL. Okay. For the refresh token, you can set this whatever you want. I'm gonna leave it at 1 month. And then for scopes, we'll do SP scopes all. So whoever authenticates gets all of their scopes. I forgot to name that. Okay, so we have our client ID and secret. I'm gonna copy those, paste those into the correct fields in Workato. And the last thing I need to do is tell it what my tenant name is. And now we try connect. It'll pop up with a login prompt there. Since I'm already logged into my IdentityNow instance, that login prompt just went away right away because I'm already logged in. But if I wasn't logged in, it would ask me for my username and password for SailPoint. I put that in, and then I would be logged in as my user. Okay, so our connection is now set up. So the trigger has the option to specify a JSON path filter. Highly recommend you do that. I'm not going to do it for this demonstration. Next thing we need to do is set up an action. So we can use an action from the SailPoint connector. There's a few out-of-the-box actions that I provide if you need to use any one of those. But there's also the option to do a custom action. So if you need to connect to any other API within SailPoint, you can use that custom action, which pre-populates a lot of the fields for you, like the host name and everything like that. But I'm actually not going to use a SailPoint action. We're going to keep this simple. I just want to send an email whenever a new identity is created. For this, I'm actually going to use the Gmail connector, and we're going to use the send email action. I've already registered with my Gmail account, so that connection is set up. I'm going to select that connection type, and for the to, I'm going to send it to my SailPoint address. Subject. So subject, just like workflows, you can use inline variables to mix static and dynamic text. So I could say, hey, this trigger is going to give me, should give me a display name. So this person joined the company. Can give a little message here. And then I can save that. Okay, so just like workflows, we can hit test. Now it's waiting for a new trigger to be fired. So let's give it an actual live event. Now, the nice thing about Workato with the connector that I built is that it automatically subscribes to the event trigger for you, so you don't have to set up that subscription logic. It's there. It's ready to go. So to simulate this, I'm going to open up Postman. Again, I have a flat file source, so I'm just going to create a new account on that flat file source. In this case, we're going to use Brand Stark. So what I expect when I send this, it's good. We should receive the event in Workato. We did, so it found the trigger event, it's processing it. Everything was successful. Now I should receive an email in my inbox with the information that we configured. So I go to my inbox, here it is. So it's from my personal email address, but Brand Stark joined the company, the variables worked, we got the email, great. So yeah, that is a quick demonstration of the Workato connector, how you can use that. And again, if you have any ideas for suggestions or improvements, reach out to me on the developer forum. I'm more than willing to implement these things. All right, Fernando, over to you for Pipedream.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Pipedream. Pipedream is another integration platform, but I happen to love, and I think it fits very well into what I do. And this is basically because of three things. It has a very generous free tier, and coupled with the sharing capabilities, it's been great for me to implement pre-sales use cases. Okay, so you can use it for free for general use cases, but when it comes to heavy using, you need to get a license. Sharing capabilities are brilliant because you can select any existing workflow and share this workflow with a particular public, or you can make it public to everybody with a link. Okay, so this has been very useful to me and my work. And finally, and the fact that it includes versioning into this platform, it helps a lot with when you create different iterations of the same code. You can easily roll back your changes into a previous state. Now, a disclaimer as well, because I've been working on this for a while, and the platform keeps updating constantly. I recommend you to use version 1 of the editor. You may find it's like more raw, not so eye candy, or like version 2 is. But this way you can easily share your workflows, as I mentioned before. Another thing to note that this may be different from other platforms is that you have your workflows here, and your sources are basically the triggers. Okay, so you have a trigger, and then you inject the trigger into a workflow, so it runs when certain condition is met. In order to show you how this works, I thought that it would be interesting to show you a use case I built. This is a delegation system I created with two workflows, one CSV source, an ETS trigger, and also a transform. Okay, it's this delegation system works. So allows you to select. Wait a minute. Allows you to select to delegate whatever you have pending, or whatever you will have pending approval, or your pending certifications to the desired delegate. Okay, this is driven by the request center, and you just need to request a delegate, select who you want your delegate to be, and select it from the field, and hit submit. Okay, it's a single entitlement that, instead of assigning the entitlement to Alice Ford in this case, it's going to assign it to me, and associate Alice Ford as my delegate. Okay. If I show you real quick my profile here, you will notice that there's an identity attribute called delegate. At this moment is clear, and I have a subscription set up, so it triggers when a delegate request is created. In this case, I'm going to proceed. I'm going to submit. Okay, so this should trigger the workflow. The first workflow is triggered by an HTTP request. This is an HTTP request that comes from from IDN. You can see that this is the HTTP request that just came in. It's currently executing, and Pipedream is very easy to follow. This is the execution, so we're gonna see that we can see the code, we can see the step by step. Obviously, it goes from top to bottom, and also the output of each step, which is very easy to follow. This is what we got from the actual request from the trigger. Okay, and at any point we can replay the event in order to refine our code. Okay, if we find any issues, I think it's very useful to use a simple code early step in order to set different parameters. This will be kind of your configuration. You can easily create a new placeholder for new configuration items, defining a variable or a constant in the code, and also you can change the type of variable you expect from the input. Okay, so it's very handy. In this case, and contrary to Workato, you need to negotiate the authentication. So this is an early stage step you will find over and over again. Okay, where you get your authorization token that at a later stage you will reference here. Okay, so every step return items can be referenced, and also whatever you define within the object itself. Okay, since every step is a different object, you can reference afterwards on each part of the workflow. So here I will get more information about the request status that was triggered. Then I would create the delegate. Notice that I'm creating the delegate as an account on a CSV source. Okay, I finally get the work item because it was a CSV file. The CSV file has no provisioning capabilities, so this will create a manual task. And finally, I will remove altogether. I will complete the work item. Okay, what this trigger was that if I refresh my identity, I can see that Alice Ford now is my delegate. Okay, this came just because in this case I created an account on that CSV file, but instead of for Alice, I created it on my account with a predefined expiry date. So this will mean that I've successfully flagged Alice Ford as my delegate. This is just part of the full the configuration. I need another workflow, the process approval delegations. Okay, you can schedule that workflow. This is another type of trigger that Pipedream supports, and you can run it manually or you can schedule. This is like a sweep job, okay, that you need to run every time that you want this happen. This is gonna take all the pending certification items and all the pending approval items that in my profile, or anybody who has a defined delegate, and is gonna forward it to the delegate. Okay, so here you can see you can do it so you can have more good visibility of each one of the steps you take. Okay, and finally, this was an approval that came through a governance group. Okay, and the original one was for a request from Alice from Amanda Rose, and Alice Ford now has the actual approval. Okay, so this is basically, I mean, what I like to call is like a ping pong between the automation platform and IdentityNow. It generally all these events can are generally initiated by IdentityNow by the ETS system, but remember that not necessarily. Okay, you can initiate whatever action on IdentityNow using the API as well. Okay, so things to note about Pipedream. It has a very good connectivity options. Okay, but this is something that is like default for any other platform. I encourage you to give to try it by yourself, and that's all I wanted to say.